Hello students, today I'll continue with chromosomal disorders. The next chromosomal disorder which I'll be explaining is Petal Syndrome. Now Petal Syndrome was identified by a geneticist, Klaus Petal. So the name Petal comes from the scientist itself, that is a geneticist called Klaus Petal, who has identified this disorder. Now Petal Syndrome, usually the patients, that is people suffering with Petal Syndrome, will not exist. Okay, they die within 1 year after the birth. So it is a severe, more severe compared to the other chromosomal disorders. What happens in Petal Syndrome? In Petal Syndrome, in Petal Syndrome, 13th chromosome is extra. So usually you have one homologous pair, but 13th chromosome, one more extra pair is supposed to be present. So it is also like a Down syndrome, it is also a trisomic condition. But in Down syndrome, it was 21st trisomy. In Petal syndrome, it will be 13th trisomy. So here, 13th chromosome trisomy is there. Since trisomy is there, you also can call it as aneuploidy. It is an aneuploidy condition because one extra chromosome is there. So one of the extra 13th chromosome. So as a result, here also what will be the karyotype is 45A. That is total autosomes in the normal humans will be 44A. Now 13th is one extra. Okay, Down syndrome 21st was extra. Here 13th will be one extra. So it will be 45A plus. So you can tell total number of chromosomes directly. So here a total of 47 chromosomes. And the karyotype, or you can tell karyotype, when a karyotype is done, what is karyotype is? So a photograph of the chromosomes are taken, and that is each chromosome is being cut, okay, and then pasted here according to their sizes and position of the centromere. So first chromosome is placed here, second, okay, like this, third, fourth, fifth. This is one group, and fourth, fifth, another group, like this they will arrange. So this belongs to D group. So 13th chromosome actually belongs to, in a karyotype, I told you there is from group A to group G. And this one, 13th chromosome, belongs to group D. Now, what are the symptoms of? Here also reason will be mainly whenever trisomy condition or aneuploidy occurs, the cause will be non-disjunction of chromosomes during meiosis. Now, what are the symptoms of Petal syndrome? So, Petal syndrome, what are its symptoms? The symptom will be totally abnormal face, okay, which is no more, which will not resemble at all ideally with that of the human face. So abnormal faces one of the symptoms of Petal syndrome. Then there's a fissure in the lips, so it's called as cleft lip. That means the upper lip and the lower lip there is a fissure. Okay, that means there's a cut in the lip. That is called as cleft lip. So cleft lip. Then you know that just above the tongue, that is the bone that divides, or the partition that divides the nasal cavity with that of the buccal cavity. It is called as the secondary palate. Okay, so even that palate splits. Okay, that is called as there is a cleft created in the palate, or it will split. And now what happens is the nasal cavity is supposed to be connected with the buccal cavity through that cleft lip, so it is called as cleft palate. Cleft palate. Okay, and the chin will be too narrow. Okay, small chin. Symptoms of Petal syndrome. I told that Petal syndrome, the fetus will, not the fetus, the newborn after the birth will die after a few months, not exceeding one. That means within 1 year, the infant is going to die, the one which is suffering with Petal syndrome. Okay, so this is about the next chromosomal disorder identified by geneticist Klaus Petal. The next one is Kadesha. Kadesha. So this was, it is actually, even though directly it can pronounce as Untitled Chapter, it is actually called Kadesha. It can pronounce as Kadesha. So this is also the chromosomal disorder where the defect lies in the fifth chromosome. Okay. Now, cry like a cat is the meaning of this tradition. Who identified this chromosomal disorder is Dr. Legend. Dr. Legend identified this genetic disorder called Credisa. This disease, the defect lies in the fifth chromosome. Okay, so in the fifth chromosome, there will be a short arm, and of course, there will be a longer arm. This is an unduplicated chromosome. So, short arm is mentioned as P, short, petit, like that. So, next will be the letter Q. So, P refers to the short arm, Q refers to the bigger arm of the chromosome. Now, in the fifth chromosome, what happens? The P arm is truncated. Truncated means cut. So, there is a truncation. Okay, that means part of the chromosome is missing here. Okay, that is which part is missing? The P segment, or you can tell the arm, the arm of the chromosome is going to be missing. It is being cut. Okay. So which chromosome it is? Fifth chromosome. It is being cut. That's why it is also called 5p minus disorder. 5p minus means portion that has been truncated or which is cut. Because of the absence of this segment, you know that see whichever chromosomal disorders are there, that will be due to change in number or change in the structure of chromosome. It means that when a major chunk of the chromosome is missing, all the genes associated there also will be missing. That will lead to various complications during development. And similarly, even when entire chromosome is extra also, it is not going. Chromosome number are normal, then development of an individual will be normal. When there is lot of deviation in the chromosome number, okay, too high, low, no, is will not such even such zygotes itself will not survive. Will not such even such zygotes itself will not survive. Okay. So this was about the. So this is called cry like a kitten. Kitten is like a, a cat. The person who is a child of Kadisha, they will, when they cry, it will resemble like a mewing of a cat. Okay, so that is what it's named as cry like a cat. So Kadisha. So this was identified by Dr. Legend. Now directly I'll go for symptoms. So here chromosome number is not changing because it is a structural defect rather than numerical defects. Whereas Down syndrome was a numerical defect, Turner's was numerical defect, Patau's is also numerical defect. But here, Kadisha, total number of chromosomes are there, but where the defect lies is in the structure of chromosomes. Now, Kadisha symptoms directly. Now, symptoms of Kadisha is already you know one of the symptoms that there is a change in the voice whenever the child will or infant will cry, and crying very much resembles with that of. Okay. So you write on this also point deletion in short arm of chromosome 5. Chromosome 5. Symptoms are the microcephaly, that is, the head is supposed to be small. The head is small. Okay, that the size of the head is small. And of course, there will be mental retardation. So there is mental retardation. That means they cannot lead a normal life because of the mental retardation. And their eyes are quite far away placed from each other. When you compare the distance between the two eyes, it is supposed to be broadly spaced. Eyes are widely spaced eyes. Widely spaced eyes. And many times even ears are quite spaced behind, and they'll be like not in a normal position. So slight change in the position of the ear also. Okay, they will have congenital heart diseases. There is a possibility that these people can have by birth itself. Congenital means by birth itself they will have congenital heart diseases. So they are supposed to be congenital heart diseases. What do you mean by congenital? Means by birth. Okay, this birth, through this word you should know it as by birth itself. The birth itself, after the birth, there should be the defect in the heart. That is a sign of these, I mean, the symptoms of this credit. These are all the signs and symptoms of this chromosomal disorders. So here, congenital heart diseases, and of course, crying like a cat. Okay, so cry like a cat. The see here, even though there are other major developmental defects, one of the defect also comes in the larynx. Okay, and larynx, you know, it is a sound box in human. Happens to larynx is the larynx is with the normal, but in terms of arrangement, vocal cords, in terms of the structure and nature of the epiglottis, and some slight changes will be there in the larynx. So larynx is not going to develop properly or normally. When normal larynx is not there, definitely normal, and therefore the voice resembles like the voice of a cat when a person cries. Okay, so cry like kitten because larynx is not normally developed. So when detailed structure is observed, the larynx of this Kadisha patients will be uh, much different from that of in different sense. Minute differences will be there in that the normal person's sound box. Okay, so because the sound box is abnormal here, even when it speaks out, rather than speaking, when it cries out, Kadisha, is it temporary or permanent? It can be temporary, which sometimes it like cry may disappear after a few years. Hearing here, it doesn't mean the people who are suffering with Kadisha will die within 1 year. The next chromosomal disorder called the so this this disease is like the child, and you will never know that it is a child's cry. You will know it is like a mewing of a cat. That is why, because of this signature symptom, it is like crying like a cat. Because of this only, it was named as Kadisha. Next is Klinefelter's syndrome. Klinefelter syndrome, also identified by Harry Klinefelter. It is also named after the scientist who have identified it. So Harry Klinefelter. What happens in this disease is it affects a male, and a male will have one extra chromosome. So if he has one extra chromosome, normally a male will have X and Y, two chromosomes he has. What are these chromosomes called? They're called allosomes. They're also called as sex chromosome. Now one extra X chromosome will be present, and then complement is going to change. Okay, that is the chromosome complement or combination is going to change. So here it affects male. That means the sufferer male will not have the male-like characters in case of Klinefelter syndrome. This is because of presence of one extra chromosome. So in this syndrome, there is presence of one or more. So minimum should be one. Presence of extra X chromosome. In male, presence of one, presence of extra X chromosome in male. Now, because of this, again, you can arrive at the what is the chromosome condition or chromosome complement here. So, what are these? 44 is autosomes. These are responsive. But when it comes to sex determination, then other. So you see, this is a male. This is actually a normal male. Now, what if this disease comes? There is a presence of an extra chromosome, so it will be XXY. It will be. So 44 XXY will be the chromosome complement, or you call it as chromosome conditions. Now, if you count the total number of chromosomes, so total chromosomes in individual who is suffering from Klinefelter's syndrome will be 44. These are autosomes. How many allosomes? Instead of 2, it is 1. So 47. The total number of chromosomes here will be 47 chromosomes. Again, remember, because of which, what you can call it as is aneuploidy. Cause, reason. What is the reason for people syndrome is? It is because of non-disjunction of chromosome during meiosis. That is, during meiosis, there is a non-disjunction of chromosome. They don't separate properly during anaphase. There is separation of chromosomes and chromatids. They don't get separated properly. So, non-disjunction of chromosome is one of the major causes for occurrence of Klinefelter's syndrome. Okay, so these all are some of the features of Klinefelter's syndrome. So, symptoms of Klinefelter syndrome. These are very much similar to what is there in Turner syndrome. A similar effect will be there on the male. If a female there in Turner's will not have secondary sexual characters, here also male in Klinefelter will not have the secondary sexual characters. So symptoms. Symptoms of Klinefelter's syndrome is that developmental defect will be there because of presence of one extra chromosome. What happens is the male can develop gynecomastia. Now, gynecomastia is the condition where there is a breast development in male. And if breast development occurs in male, then it's called as gynecomastia. He will start getting female characters because there is one extra X chromosomes, and that female character is nothing but development of breast. So there's a gynecomastia. Then other symptoms include, since these all are inborn diseases, remember, Down syndrome, inborn by birth itself, these diseases will occur. So they are also what? Chromosomal diseases. Okay. Then what is the other consequence of this Klinefelter's syndrome is testis is not well developed. That is, testis is rudimentary. Testis is rudimentary means testis is not functioning. It means it cannot produce sperms. Okay, it is atrophied. It is very small in size. Okay, so testicles are small in size. Testis is rudimentary, and along with that, one more also comes testis is small in size. And of course, here both will indicate it is non-functional testis which cannot perform its function normally. Got? So consequently, what will not occur? One, the hormone will be dropped in the blood circulation of these, in the blood of these individuals, and therefore the hormone that the testis produces is testosterone, and the testis is non-functional now, and therefore what happens is the testosterone concentration gets reduced. Decrease in testosterone. There is a decrease in testosterone. So this decrease in testosterone will lead to again less of symptoms. Remember, pituitary keeps releasing gonadotropins, so they can be increase in FSH, but the testis does not respond to FSH. Okay, how FSH as well as LH, including gonadotropins. Okay, both gonadotropins will be high, but thing is, testis will not respond to it. Okay, and then produce its respective hormones. So therefore, testosterone will be less. When testosterone is less, definitely it aids in spermatogenesis, and therefore sperms are not produced sufficiently, and such individuals will be incapable of producing children. Okay, infertility will be there, or sterility will be there. They'll be incapable of producing children. What? So these all are the some of the symptoms. Okay. Then, since testosterone is not there, spermatogenesis is not there, spermatogenesis, sterility is there, and if testosterone is less, okay, then there will be no secondary sexual character. So in both disease, the consequence will be there right from the birth itself, as and when there is a differential gene expression. So here there is a decrease in testosterone. Also, there will be what? As he attains the puberty, there is no secondary sexual characters. That means presence of pubic hair, presence of hair on the body as a whole, and even beard and all will not be there in this individual who is suffering with Klinefelter. Even though he has a normal life expectancy is almost normal, or might be slightly less, but it is almost normal here. But he does not have a secondary sexual character and will be sterile. It can be here all the factors. Okay, course-wise, all these secondary sexual characters will be absent. Again, which is due to what? Testosterone. Good. And gynecomastia is there, and he has a broad pelvic. Usually, the male will have broader chest and narrow pelvic, but it is opposite here, somewhat narrow chest but broader pelvic, like female characters will be there. So, broad pelvis. Okay, so pelvis will be broad here. Good. So these are then his legs will be very long, like female, thin and long legs. Okay. So these are what you call some of the symptoms in when it comes to mental retardness. The mental retardness is not so serious. So you can say intelligence will be average. So average, you might have an average intelligence. So these all are some of the additional points in this Klinefelter. And you should know that this here, the testis is non-functional, and also what there is there. So this condition can also be called hypogonadism. More than, of course, this is a consequence. Production of testosterone is a consequence. Excuse me, students. Production of testosterone is a consequence. But when testis is smaller in size and testicles is smaller, it becomes non-functional rudimentary. That condition can also be called as hypogonadism. And due to hypogonadism, there is a decrease in testosterone. So this was about the Klinefelter syndrome. Now, chromosome complement, I told a little bit. I want to tell points regarding the chromosomal complement here. So, 44A plus XXY is considered to be Klein. So, minimum should be how much? For a person to suffer with Klinefelters, minimum 2X chromosome should be present. Okay. And suppose there is a person who is surviving with this chromosome complement XY. Then which syndrome is that? That time also it is called as Klinefelter's syndrome. Okay. Then if I consider further 44A, X, like that, still it is considered to be Klinefelter's syndrome. Basic basic requirement to be called as Klinefelter's is minimum 2X chromosomes. More than 2X chromosomes also can be there. But remember, as the number of X chromosome increases in a Klinefelter's, then all the symptoms starts becoming more severe. Okay, so that is about the Klinefelter's syndrome. So, stressing more on how can this Down syndrome or Klinefelter's Turner's can occur. Now, if I consider the humans, one human individual, for example, she is normal, 44A plus XX, and she is married to a man also who is normal. Now, when meiosis occurs, suppose during meiosis, one is 24A. Okay, but what happens instead of segregating normally, they don't get separated. These two X chromosomes don't get separated. So there is non-disjunction. In that case, what happens? One gamete ovum will be 22AXX, another will be 22A plus nothing will be. Understand? What? So now think that here 22A plus X, 22A plus Y. Okay? Now, if this ovum will fertilize with this sperm, then offspring will be having which genotype? Possibility is there. If there is a non-disjunction during meiosis, there is a possibility that the offsprings will be suffering with Klinefelter's syndrome. Okay. So one instance, how it might occur. So during non-disjunction, during disjunction means separation normally. So there is good normal disjunction here. X is going in one gamete, Y is going into another gamete. It is normal. So there is a good disjunction as well. But non-disjunction means not separating properly. So both the X chromosome will come in one. Another there will be no. Okay. So some of these combinations will not survive. So this you see Turner's syndrome. This can give rise to what? Turner's syndrome. And this combination XXY and triple X, and this is OY, such zygotes will not survive. Got Y. So Why there can be a possibility of either terminal or climax, ultimately during which condition? Meiosis. It sometimes immediately after formation of zygote during the cleavage, if there is a non-disjunction, this can also affect the further development. So this was about, this completes the chapter principles of inheritance and variations. And today I have completed what is the subtopic called chromosomal disorders. And now I'll continue with the next topic, human health and diseases. So human health and disease is the next chapter. So today I'll be explaining about introduction of human health and disease. So in introduction, I'll be giving regarding history of what do you call, history has to how history of, you can tell, treatment and medicines and various diseases. That means in the earlier times they were Greek philosophers like Hippocrates. Okay, he was a Greek philosopher. He has this theory called good humor hypothesis. It's a theory, it is not practically proved. It is his theory based on certain observations what he has made that time. So his name is Hippocrates. So what Hippocrates says in the good humor hypothesis, his theory is called good humor hypothesis. So as you know, hypothesis is nothing but the theory here. Humor is body fluids. Good humor, good body fluids. So you should know that humor is nothing but body fluids. So Hippocrates says that body has certain humors. There are some fluids present in body. Today we know that the two main body humors in our body. Today we know that the two main body humors are blood and lymph. So that time Hippocrates, according to his theory, explained that there are four humors in the human body. Now, what is the humor? Already I told, hypothesis is theory, good humor hypothesis. So, good humor hypothesis says that there are four humors in the human body. It's a theory. So, four humors are present. Okay. So, what is those humors? Black bile is one humor. It's a body fluid. Another is called yellow bile. This is also body fluid, which is body fluid present in our body. And blood is the fluid present in the body. Another is phlegm. Is also another body fluid. So these are the four humors present. Now, what did he state according to this good humor hypothesis is, if a person has balance of all the four humors, okay, correct balance should be there. So if there is balance within this humor, if black bile, yellow bile, blood, phlegm, these are the name of the humors he has given. If all of them are balanced, then a person will have health. If all of them are balanced, the person is going to have health. It's correlated to health. If imbalance occurs, then the person will start suffering with some diseases. Okay. Now he has given special explanation on this one, that is a black bile. He said the person who has black bile has hot personality. That means his body temperature can be high and he is the one who has tendency to get the fever. So have tendency to get the fever. So there is a proportion in this. If the black bile is more, that means a person with having more black bile will have a hotter personality. Here we mean that even temperament also will be, that time even they connect the fluids with the mood of a person. His temperament also will be changing. He will quickly get the fever. Okay. But this hypothesis has to be, even in India, there is a similar system going on. There is an indigenous system of medicine in India, and that is called as Ayurveda. So even in Ayurveda, they believe the same thing. That means similar principles. Body has like Vata, Pitta, Kapha, and all those things. And if there is a balance, there will be health. Otherwise, there is a loss of balance. So on the similar principles, even Ayurveda system believed in this balance of body fluids that will bring the person to the health. Okay, bring the person or make the person healthy. So this was about that. Now, scientist called William Harvey disproved it. Okay, what he disproved? Good human hypothesis. However, there is no much reference in your NCERT regarding yellow bile, blood, and black. So rather, it was disproved. This theory was disproved by using a thermometer because more emphasis was given on this black bile that causes fever and raises the temperature of the body. So, good human hypothesis was disproved by William Harvey. William Harvey. William Harvey is also discoverer of circulatory system. Now, what did William Harvey do, and what was this hypothesis telling? Person who has more black bile can, his body is of hot personality, and his temperature will be a bit higher, and he can get the fever very quickly. So he proved that there cannot be the people with more temperature or less temperature. So he used what? Thermometer. William Harvey used thermometer. Using thermometer, he found that temperature in human is constant. Temperature in human is constant. So there is nothing like black bile is more, so he will be a slightly hot personality, so he can catch very quickly the fever. That thing was disproved by William Harvey using thermometer, and proved that not only black bile, even yellow bile people or any other predominancy is there, the body temperature will be constant itself. And therefore, what happens? Good human hypothesis was disproved. Okay. And now you know that he is the one who has discovered circulatory system. And you know that in the circulatory system now, there are two main humors in the body. One is blood, another is lymph. And another is lymph. But, so in fact also you know that blood is in fact derived from the lymph is in fact derived from filtration of blood itself. So this was about the history regarding how the people, how did they define health? They just defined through good humor hypothesis, which was later explored. So health is balance in the humor was according to this theory. So now coming to definition of health and which are the factors that can affect health and which are the factors that can be, which are the ways by which the health can be maintained. So first, what is health? Definition of health. First thing, when you're asked as to what is health, you will be telling absence of disease. That is primary. In sense, first a person should not have any disease. Just because a person is not having a disease, it doesn't mean he is healthy. He may not be socially well going, or he might not be mentally sound, even though he's not suffering with any disease. So therefore, World Health Organization came up with a definition of health as. So this definition is according to World Health Organization. What is the definition? First point, there should be absence of diseases. There should be absence of diseases. That is the first way to define. Then, not just absence, person should be mental well-being should be there, mentally sound. Now, apart from mental well-being, the third point, there should also be social well-being. These 3 points are to be social well-being. So, all the 3 points together put in a single definition is health is defined as absence of diseases along with mental and social well-being. And this is the definition which is given by World Health Organization. Okay, that means a person should be not just diseases are absent, a person, no, he should be mentally sound. Okay, undisturbed but mentally sound he should be, and he should go well along in the society. That is, socially he should be good enough without creating problems to others. It can be giving some gentle examples like this. So therefore, absence of diseases plus mentally sound individual and socially and not disturbing, not creating problems socially. So this is about, now let me give an example. A person have a habit of consuming alcohol. Okay. And he will further get continuous habit of alcohol, which will reflect upon the social life. Okay, he may not go well with the family, or finally he might create problem in the society like that. So therefore, in 1961, that is World Health Organization, has declared that alcohol habit is actually a disease. Getting habituated with alcohol is a disease. So it means not necessarily like the diseases should be typhoid, pneumonia, and all. For if there is no social well-being, if there is no mental well-being, you can still tell that the person is unhealthy, even though we do not get any diseases. So this was the points which are present in the definition of health as given by World Health Organization. Now, factors affecting health. Next. What are the factors by which the health is affected? The first factor by which the health is affected is what is called the genetic factors, like Genetic disorders. Okay, then second is infections. The third is lifestyle. So first one, remember, when health is there should not be any discomfort and disability. Remember, when disability, discomfort, lack of happiness also, all these will be indicated an outcome of unhealthiness. So first one you see genetic disorders. In genetic disorders, the certain diseases will appear in an individual by birth itself. Okay, so those disorders are called genetic disorders. So first point, they will be occurring by birth itself. Okay, so since these diseases are occurring by birth, it's also called as inborn diseases. Inborn diseases or diseases occurring by birth. You have studied two main groups of inborn diseases already. One is gene disorders, that's monogenic disorders, which is also called genetic disorders. And second is chromosomal disorders. This will be present in an individual by birth itself. So that is why it's called as genetic disorders. Okay. So definitely these diseases will not allow a person to lead a normal, healthy life. Discomfort, inability, mental retardedness, physical retardedness, lack of comfort, okay, all these. Okay. Not ability to the normal life, interfering with the normal activity, daily activities. Definitely, therefore, it should be lack of health. So genetic diseases by birth. Okay, some individuals by birth they will be healthy, but when exposed to environment, they start getting the diseases, and those are called as infections. So infections is upon exposure to environment. Upon exposure to the environment after the birth, you will acquire it. Okay. So infections are usually not inborn; they are generally acquired during the lifetime of an individual. Okay. For example, person is all quite healthy enough, but what happens is probably he drinks a contaminated water or he consumes a contaminated food and all. He will suffer with typhoid, because typhoid is caused by a bacteria. The bacteria goes and colonizes inside the body of an individual. Colonizes inside the body of an individual. We call it as infection. So it enters the body, colonizes, multiplies there. This all is the nothing but an infection. So that is due to acquired diseases or exposure to the environment. Some may get viral disease, some may get protozoal disease, some may get helminthic diseases. Okay, some may get bacterial diseases like that. So upon exposure to environment after the birth, they get the diseases due to infection. See, remember, certain infections can be before birth also. For example, if mother is suffering with HIV, then the child itself can suffer with HIV environment. Or some will be by birth. Okay. Or some may acquire from mother where the virus passes to the placenta. So here, infections rather than telling like exposure to the environment will be due to virus, bacteria, protozoa, helminths, right? Fungus, fungal diseases also will be there. So these are examples of various disease causing organisms which are also called pathogens, which I'll explain afterwards. The next comes lifestyle. People are almost born healthy and they are also taking care of themselves so that they are not going to get any infections from any of these microorganisms. but their lifestyle is not good. For example, they continuously sit at one place without doing any exercise. When there is no exercise, then fat buildup can occur. Certain people lifestyle is that they always eat canned foods, for example, which is loaded with preservatives. That can end up on a long run. It can end up with certain diseases. Okay, and some people have tendency to eat only the sweets. Okay, they crave for only sweets, which may make them diabetic in future. Okay, so that is part of what lifestyle. So people by their own activity, by their own choice, okay, they get diseases. With their own choice, they start getting the diseases. As I told, sugar it can be, or continuously consuming a lot of salty food, which may increase the propensity of an individual to get the blood pressure like that. So that is the choice of a person. Okay, not doing yoga, he might not be not following meditation. Understand? All those healthy lifestyles, eating good food, balanced food. So eating too much of protein, too much of fat, or too much of carbohydrate, only one-sided, lopsided, can create an imbalanced imbalance in the health, and that will create again a list of other diseases which are due to lifestyle. So therefore, factors affecting health can be due by birth itself, some after the birth, and some due to by their own choices due to not having a good lifestyle. So for today, this is nothing but an introduction for the next chapter. I'll continue this chapter in the next class.